Good day everyone, I am Annalyn Amyang and I am going to present to you my report, the scoring rubrics, analytic and holistic rubric. So before we proceed to our discussion, we have here our topic outline. Definition of rubric, differences between analytic and holistic rubric, process-oriented performance-based assessment, examples of analytic and holistic rubric, process-oriented performance-based assessment, my self-made output, and the summary of this report. We have here our learning objectives. First, define what is rubric. Second, differentiate analytic and holistic rubric to process-oriented. Give an example rubrics for analytic and holistic rubric, process-oriented, and present the self-made output, the process-oriented performance-based assessment rubric. So now let's start our discussion. So we have here scoring rubric. What is scoring rubric? So according to Mutual 2009, it is a set of rules specifying the criteria used to find out what students know and are able to do so. So a scoring rubric serves as a structured framework for evaluating student performance based on predetermined criteria. It outlines the specific standards or expectations for assessing what students know and can do in relation to a particular task or assignment. Essentially, a rubric provides clear guidelines for educators to objectively assess student work. So, the first statement, according to Mutual 2009, it highlights that a scoring rubric consists of rules or criteria that teachers use to determine the level of student understanding and proficiency. So this criteria can include various aspects such as content knowledge, skills, applications of concept, organization, and communication. So that is an example of that criteria can include in that rubric. The second statement is according to Macmillan in 2007. So this is another definition. So a scoring rubric is a scoring guide that uses criteria to differentiate between levels of student proficiency. So it emphasizes that a scoring rubric functions as a guide to differentiate between levels of student proficiency. So it assists educators in assigning scores or ratings that reflect the degree to which students meet the established criteria by using specific criteria. A rubric enables teachers to provide feedback that is detailed and specific, so allowing students to understand their strengths and areas for improvement. So it is important because scoring rubrics provide clarity and consistency in assessment, so making the evaluation process transparent and fair for both students and teachers. So they help ensure that assessment is aligned with learning objectives and provides meaningful feedback to support student growth and development. There are two types of rubrics. These are the analytic and holistic rubrics. So analytic and holistic rubrics are two different approaches to assessing student performance, each with its own advantages and application. So first, we have analytic rubric. So an analytic rubric articulates levels of performance for each criterion so the teacher can assess student performance on each criterion according to Navarro and Santos 2013. So an analytic rubric breaks down the assessment criteria into specific components or criteria. So each criterion is evaluated separately. So and the rubric articulates different levels of performance for each criterion. So this allows teachers to assess student performance on each criterion individually, providing detailed feedback on strengths and areas for improvement in each aspect of the task or assignment. So, analytic rubrics are particularly useful when assessing complex tasks that involve multi-skills or competencies. So, they provide more granular assessment of student performance and allow for targeted feedback on specific aspects of the work. So, next we have holistic rubric. So, holistic rubric does not list separate levels of performance for each criterion. So, instead, a holistic rubric assigns a level of performance across multiple criteria as a whole. So, that is also according to Navarro and Santos 2013. So, in contrast to the analytic rubric, a holistic rubric does not list separate levels of performance for each criterion. Instead, it evaluates overall performance across multiple criteria as a whole. So the rubric assigns single level of performance based on the overall impression of the work, considering all criteria collectively. So holistic rubrics are simpler and quicker to use compared to analytic rubrics, making them suitable for assessing tasks with fewer distinct criteria or when the focus is on overall performance rather than specific details. So they provide a broader assessment of student work and are often used when evaluating tasks that require creativity, critical thinking, or subjective judgment. So, overall, analytic rubrics offer a detailed assessment of student performance by breaking down criteria into specific components, while holistic rubrics provide a broader evaluation of overall performance across multiple criteria. So, the choice between analytic and holistic rubrics depends on the nature of the task, the desired level of detailed in assessment, and the specific learning objectives of the task. So we have here an example of analytic rubric, process-oriented. So an example of dimensional analytical rubric assessing the analysis of public opinions on the divorce bill. So the criteria is clarity in defining that issue or topic, and level of scholarly research done, then aesthetic appeal of report. So the level of performance has 3 level of performance. So 0, 1, 2, 3. So in clarity in defining the issue topic, so the student will get 3 points when the issue was explained in the introductory paragraph, and they got 2 if the issue topic was mentioned in the introductory paragraph not clearly explained, and 1 if the issue topic was mentioned in the introductory paragraph but was not explained, and 0 if the issue topic was not mentioned at all. So that is for the clarity in defining the issue topic. And next, we have level of scholarly research. So the student will get 3 if the report cited different sources of opinion properly analyzed. 2 if the report cited different sources of opinion but not analyzed. 1 if the report cited only 1 or 2 sources of opinions without analysis, and 0 if the report did not indicate sources and there was no analysis. So next we have aesthetic appeal. So the student will get 3 points if the report is well written without errors in grammar and syntax. They will get 2 points if the report is well written with lapses in grammar and syntax, and 1 if the report is written in the incomplete and incoherent sentences, and 0 if the report is the only outline form. So as you can see, there is a scoring protocol. So the total score and the verbal. So if the student got 7 and above, so it is most acceptable. And if the student got 4 to 5 score, then partially acceptable. And if below 4, that is unacceptable. So as you can see in the rubric, so the assessment criteria, it breaks down the assessment criteria into specific components of criteria. So each criterion is evaluated separately, and the rubric articulates different levels of performance for each criterion. So next we have the example of holistic rubric, process-oriented. So example of holistic rubric, assessing a research report. So the criteria, we have here 5 criteria. So first, degree to which the report reflects the objectives of the research, level of creativity, clarity, visual appeal, and level of effort. So the level of performance is, we have 5, the excellent, 4, very good, 3, good, 2, fair, 1, poor. So the scoring protocol, if the student got 20 and above, it is most acceptable, and 15 to 19, very acceptable, 10 to 14, acceptable, 5 to 9, barely acceptable, and below 5, unacceptable. So as you can see in a holistic rubric, does not list separate levels of performance for each criterion. Instead, it evaluates the overall performance across multiple criteria as a whole. So the rubrics assign a single level performance based on the overall impression of the work and considering all criteria collectively. So it is more simpler and quicker compared to the analytic rubric. The task design made by Torino, I came up with this scoring rubric. So analytic rubric. So as you can see, we have here the criteria. So the identify the problem, arithmetic operation, computation, checking of the answer, and the answer. So the level of performance, we have here 4 levels of performance. So 4 exceeds expectation, 3 meets expectation, 2 approaching expectation, and 1 do not meet expectation. So identify the problem. So clearly identifies the main question or task related to the time within the word problem. So if in 3 identifies the main question but not overlook minor details, and identifies some aspect of the problem but struggles to pinpoint the main question, and fails to identify the main question. So that is for the identifying the problem. So in arithmetic operations, so the student will get 4 or exceeds expectations if it selects and applies the correct arithmetic operations, which is the addition, subtraction, multiplication, division, to solve efficiently. So they will get 3 points if they select appropriate operation but may hesitate to or make minor errors in application, and they will get 2 points if attempts to use operations but may choose incorrect or struggle with application, and 1 for if does not attempt to use any arithmetic operations. So next we have next criteria, the computation. So they will got 4 if they performs all calculations accurately, showing all steps clearly and efficiently. they will get 3 if perform most calculation accurately with minor errors, may not show all steps clearly, and they will get 2 if perform some calculations accurately but with significant errors, may not show any step, and 1 if makes multiple errors in calculation or does not attempt any calculations. So checking of the answer. So we have here next criteria checking of the answer. So if they will get 4 if it explains how the answer relates to the original problem and verifies its reasonableness within the context. So they will get 3 if it attempts to check the answer for reasonableness but explanation may be incomplete or unclear. And 3 if does not attempt to check the answer for reasonableness, and 1 if does not attempt to check the answer. Next we have the answer. So answer, this is for our final criteria, the answer. So the student will get, or the pupil will get 4 if it provides a clear and accurate answer to the problem, and 3 if it provides an answer to the problem but it may be partially incorrect, and they will get 2 points if provides an incomplete or incorrect answer to the problem, and 1 if does not provide an answer to the problem. So as you can see here, there is a points. So level 4, 4 points per criteria, total of 20 points. Level 3, 3 points per criteria, total of 15 points. Level 2, 2 points per criteria, total of 10 points. Level 1, 1 point per criteria, total of 5 points. So next we have here a group output for holistic rubric. So earlier I discussed the analytic rubric. So now I also made a holistic rubric. So this is also according to the this is also aligned to the learning competencies and the objectives, or the process-oriented learning competencies made by Ms. Maynagkot and task design made by Ms. Torino. So we have here 4 levels of performance. So 4, 3, 2, and 1. So 4 exceeds expectations. They got 20 points. So if it clearly identifies the problem and all relevant time information, accurately selects and applies appropriate arithmetic operations, performs all calculations flawlessly, showing work clearly and efficiently, and explain how the answer relates to the original problem and verifies its reasonableness within the context, and provides clear and accurate answers to the problem. So next we have 3 meets expectations, total of 15 points. If they will identifies the main questions but may overlook minor details, select appropriate operations but may hesitate or make minor errors in applications, performs most calculations accurately with minor errors, may not show all steps clearly, and attempts to check answer for reasonableness but explanation may be incomplete or unclear, and provides an answer to the problem but it may be partially incorrect. And approaching expectations, identify some aspect of the problems but struggle to pinpoint the main question, attempts to use operations but may choose incorrectly or struggle with application, and perform some calculation accurately but with significant errors, and may not show any step, and does not attempt to check the answer for reasonableness, and if it provides an incomplete or incorrect answer to the problem. So for 1 point or 5 points do not meet expectation. So 1, the level is 1. So fails to identify the main question, does not attempt to use any arithmetic operations, makes multiple errors in calculations or does not attempt any calculations, and does not provide an answer to the problem. So that is for my holistic rubric. So we are tasked to make a self-made output for POLC, task design, and for the scoring rubric, analytic and holistic. So my learning competency is to solve routine and non-routine problems involving the area of a circle. So this is for the grade 5 quarter 3. So the topic is all about area of a circle, and my learning competency is solve routine and non-routine problems involving the area of a circle. So my objective, so this is my objective. The activity aims to enable the students to solve routine and non-routine problems involving the area of a circle, specifically to identify the key information given, including the circle's radius and diameter. So second, decide if a direct formula application, routine problem, or multi-step approach non-routine problem is needed. And next, we have apply mathematical operations, addition, subtraction, multiplication, division in solving routine and non-routine problems involving the area of a circle, and compute what is being asked in the problem and check if the answer aligns with the context of the problem. So my possible task design for this POLC, or process-oriented learning competency. So I have here routine problem. Calculate the area of a circular pizza with of 30 cm. Use pi equals to 3.14. And I have here also the non-routine problem. So the pupils of 5 Valor are going to have a group study. The advisor, Ms. Perez, is trying to find the best pizza deal for everyone to eat. She learned that a family pan pizza has a diameter of 35 cm. 2 family pan pizza cost 938 pesos. A regular pan pizza has a diameter of 30 cm. 3 regular pan pizza cost 927 pesos. Which is the better deal? 2 family pan pizza or a regular pan pizza? So in the given problems, the pupils are tasked to identify the situation and individually solve what is being asked in the problem. So when completing the task, ensure that you adhere to the key objectives. So the pupils will be given 20 minutes to complete the task. The teacher will observe how the pupils comprehend the problem and utilize ways to solve it. So that is my possible task design for the process-oriented learning competency. So next I have here, so I am done making my process-oriented learning competency and my possible task design. So now I am going to present to you my analytic rubric. So as you can see in the image, so there are criteria and level of performances, 3 levels of performances and 5 criteria. So in the criteria, we have here understanding the problem, planning a solution, execution, and checking of the answer and the answer. So in level of performances, we have 3, which is the excellent, 2 for good, and 1 for poor. So understanding the problem. So if the student identifies not only the information but also the underlying mathematical concept involved, she or he will get 3 or excellent. And if the student clearly identifies all relevant information from the problem, he got only 2 for good and 1 for identify some key information but may struggle to grasp the overall concept. So in next criteria, we have here planning is solution. So develops a well-defined plan that utilizes appropriate formulas and problem-solving strategies. The student will get 3 if she got that, or she develops a well-defined plan that utilizes appropriate formulas and problem-solving strategies. So the student also got 2 if he only or she only chooses a formula but may need guidance to complete that steps. And next we have 1 or poor. So if the student attempts a solution but lacks a clear plan for strategy. So next we have criteria, we have the execution. So if the student executes the plan accurately, applying formulas and calculation effectively, she or he will get 3 points. And if the student makes minor errors in calculations but generally follows the chosen approach, she will get 2. And next we have make significant errors in calculations or applies formulas incorrectly. So if the student makes significant errors in calculations or applies formulas incorrectly, he or she will get 1. And next criteria is checking of answer. So if the student checks the answer for accuracy and explain how it relates to the context of the problem, she or he will get 3 points. And if the student attempts to check the answer for reasonableness but may lack justification, she or he will get 2 points only. And if the student does not check the answer or considers the context of the problem, he will get or she will get 1 point only. So next we have the answer criteria. We have here the criteria, the answer. So it's if the student provides a clear and accurate answer to the problem, she or he will get 3 points. And if the student will get 2 points if it provides an answer to the problem but it may be partially incorrect. And if the student provides an incomplete or incorrect answer to the problem, he or she will get 1 point. As you can see here, there is a point. So level 3, 3 points per criteria, total of 15 points. Level 2, 2 points per criteria, total of 10 points. And level 1, 1 point per criteria, total of 5 points. So next we have here the holistic rubric. So it has 3 levels of performance. So this is also according to my POLC task design, or this is also according to my learning competencies. It was aligned also for my learning competencies. So as you can see, there is excellent 15 points, good for 10 points, and poor for 5 points. So they are the same, but as you can see, it's separates does not list separate levels of performance for each criterion. Instead, it evaluates overall performance across the multiple criteria as a whole. So next, so that is for my holistic rubric. So in summary, a scoring rubric is a set of guidelines or criteria used to evaluate what students know or can do. So it provides a structured approach to assessing student proficiency by differentiating between levels of performance. So an analytic rubric breaks down performance criteria into specific components, allowing for assessment of each criterion individually. So in contrast, a holistic rubric assesses overall performance across multiple criteria as a whole, without listing separate levels for each criterion. So these rubrics serve as valuable tools for teachers to provide consistent and fair evaluations of student work. So that is for my report. I hope you've gained some learnings about it, and thank you for watching and listening.